Wouldn't it be great if prospects show up to meetings qualified and ready to invest? I'm Marcel from Little Jack, home to the 4X Accelerate program, where we help small law firms get on the path from 6 to 7 figures. And today, what I want to talk about is the triage session. So, think about this. There are two key traits to a great sales process. Number one, it helps build trust fast. And number two, it helps qualify buyers better. So a triage session gives you that opportunity to build trust, qualify buyers better, and make your prospects start to audition for you. So with this one simple step today, we'll talk about how you can kick your sales process up a notch or two by simply introducing a triage session to your sales process and your sales flow here. So how do you know if you are in the right spot? Right now, if you feel like you are wasting time with multiple meetings, with no-shows, you're missing out on other opportunity because you're spending time with people that are just kicking tires and just trying to get information from you instead of actually looking to work with you. Number two, you might feel like you're on a wild goose chase. It's exhausting. You're asking the wrong questions, you're getting the wrong answers, and just kind of all around feels a little awkward and unnatural. And you find yourself teaching your services and your skills instead of selling to the next step. And then lastly here is you might feel a little needy, like you're asking for someone's hand in marriage on the first date instead of asking for coffee or the second date or to, go to the movies. It starts to feel like a brute force arm wrestle of, can I get you to work with me? Instead of getting in the same boat and looking in the same direction to work together. You start to externalize, why can't they see that I have the solution, that they have a problem that needs to be addressed right now? And you start to feel like they're the ones at fault instead of it being your process. So ultimately, what we want to do is flip all of that. We want to be able to build trust fast so that you're focused in your process with your conversation and your questions so that you are actually in control of where the conversation is going. But then your prospect feels safe and they feel in control so that they don't feel like an opposition in this conversation, but a partner in the journey. Number two is we want to qualify buyers better. You want to be consistent. You want to actually have a process. And once you have a process, you can delegate this. So you can either give it to someone on your team or bring someone in to help deal with these 15-minute calls to quickly qualify people and find out if it's worth committing more time to them. It also gives you an opportunity to make small tweaks and improve it over time. And you can start to qualify people to show up to meetings ready to invest. And then lastly here is getting them to audition for you. So if they have a problem and you have a solution, they should be working for your attention, right? You have the solution to their problem, not the other way around. And ideally, bringing in the triage call, helping them feel in control, giving you more control in the conversation, allows you to be more assertive and ultimately shows them that they are working for your attention and that you have an offer you can take away at any time, that if it's not a good fit or not the right solution for you or for them. All right, so what is the situation of a sale? Ultimately, most people treat it like it's two opposing forces. You have you on one side, and you have your prospect or your lead on the other side here. And ultimately, what you want is a client, and what they want is information. And what happens is if you force this conversation, you look at it like two opposing forces, the issue is you're not going to get anywhere. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be painful. And it's just not going to be pleasant all around. You guys aren't going to have fun. And neither one of you is going to be aggressive and one's going to be passive. And it's very difficult to be assertive. So where do you actually meet to find that nice happy medium of being assertive where both your needs and their needs are met? It's up here at the top of this triangle, right? So what you both have in common is help. You want to give help and they want to get help. And if we can reposition this instead of hitting it head on and tacking it towards a more proper direction, we now have the pillars that can actually help form a proper relationship here of helping, of you giving help and them getting the help they need. Because ultimately what happens is if they want information, there's usually two outcomes of that. Number one, they get all the information, they sit on it and nothing happens, their situation gets worse, and overall there's no change. Number two, they get the information and they try to implement it themselves, but they do it poorly or they don't do it entirely correctly, or it takes them a lot more time and they end up spending way more time than what's necessary to actually get there. So where you guys can meet here in the middle is with a shortcut. And that shortcut is you. So if you can help them get what they need and the process they need based on your experience, and they get what they want to get to this help, ultimately you're all heading in the same direction and you'll be on the same page for closing the sale and getting to the next steps here. Awesome. So then where does the triage session fit into your process? So what we want to look at here is that there's, think about like 4 stages. We have 1 stage, we go 2 stages, 3 stages, and 4. Uh, we'll do 4. Cool. So at first they come in and you have your lead. Then you want to introduce your triage call, which goes right after they become a lead, followed by your strategy session, which is something we'll go over in a future mission here. But just think about it as this is where you spend most of your sales time with the person to develop the relationship. And then lastly, they are a client. And the idea is, how do we get them to go from here to here? Well, first off, when they're a lead, they raise their hand. So they said that they are interested in more information. They jumped on your calendar. They scheduled an appointment. But we want to make sure we don't overcommit and spend too much time with them and that they are a good fit. And that's where the triage call comes in. And with the triage call, the whole objective is to get them to commit with time. So when they commit with time, they go from a triage to a strategy session. And you can think about this is a 10 to 15 minute call. And this could be a 30 to 60 minute call or meeting. And then lastly, at the end of your strategy session, you want them to commit with money. Right? So this is where they become a paying client. So you go from lead to triage, strategy to client, and you go from raised hand, commit time to commit with money. And ultimately, when you bring someone through this whole process, they become a raving loyal fan, and then they tell their friends, and then you start the whole process over again by having them refer more people and bring in more leads. So how do we actually do this then? So the real high level is, and I don't want to go into it too much because I'll provide all the details in a download PDF for you to use here. So I'll give you the cheat sheet. So what you're looking at here is a 3-act conversation that can be done in 10 to 15 minutes. Act 1 is where we want to set the stage. We welcome them to the call. We let them know how much time this is going to take, and we give them a quick agenda. We ask them 2 simple questions. Why now? Why me? And then we have them tell you about their situation. So let me know what is going on, what's the reality, what is the result you want. In Act 2, we want to widen the gap. That's where we want to understand what are the roadblocks in between the reality where they are to where they want to go, asking them what's missing or broken, what's slowing them down, getting in their way, or simply stopping them from getting the results that they want, and then being direct and asking them what do they need from you. So what is the solution that they need from you? Because what we're getting them to do is visualize what it's going to look like of working together. If they can think it, it's more likely that it's going to happen. And then lastly, in Act 3, this is where we sell to the next meeting. We're not selling your services at this point. We're just looking to commit with time. So we want to understand, is this a later or a sooner thing for them? Is there a sense of urgency? Do they need to get moving? And do they feel that pain? You check in with the problem to validate that you understand you heard them correctly, to show you were listening, to show that they were actually being paid attention to. And lastly is your opportunity to identify if they're a fit or not a fit to move into this next stage and give them the next steps. So I'll go ahead and give you the download for all this without getting into too much detail. And then you can tweak it to your business as needed. And the best part about this is it's a quick call. You can work through this, identifying what works best for your business. But ultimately what you want to look at is you want to adopt this first and then adapt. So adopt and then adapt. Awesome. And that is the triage session of how we get a quick call in to identify if they're a good fit so you can qualify prospects faster and get them to show up on time and ready to invest in your services. Okay, here's the deal. This is what we help businesses do. We're on a mission this year to help 10 driven and passionate small law firms get more clients, increase revenue, and free up their time so they can focus on what matters most in moving their practice forward. And I'd love for the opportunity to help you too. So if you're the owner of a small law firm, you're doing over $30,000 a month, and you're currently running ads so you have some traffic and appointments on your calendar, and you'd like help with attracting more qualified prospects that actually show up to meetings, consistently converting leads to clients, or freeing up your time seamlessly to deliver your services, then we start with a 15-minute accelerator session to see if we can actually help you get there. So we'll look at where your business is going, the processes you currently have in place, and your current visibility online. And we'll start to review your traffic, your offer, and your pricing to start to uncover what the number one bottleneck might be that's holding you back to growing your practice. If we can't help, we'll simply point you in the next direction. But if I think we can help, we'll talk next steps to accelerate your business and get you on that path to 7 figures. So head on over to getfoundgetclients.com to book your 15-minute accelerator session. And we'll see if we can help you get on the path from 6 to 7 figures in the next 12 months. Thank you.